everything's going good for Saul at this point. And you cannot say that through this series. Welcome, guys. We're talking Better Call Saul Cobbler. Now, this episode was somewhat. It was entertaining. It was great to see like a lot of interactions between a lot of certain characters. Also, but I felt like it did drag a little bit. What we had here was basically Saul really getting comfortable with his new firm. Kim is loving it, is loving that Saul is trying. And at one point, when they have a conversation about how he wants to move to Albuquerque so he can make back and forth, because he's always at Albuquerque anyway, she says, "Oh, you need this, you need that. We need to get this." So the relationship is really progressing between those two. And I absolutely love that. But we know how it's going to end. This is before Breaking Bad. So, a lot of great things towards the end of this episode as well. A lot of great things in the middle of it. We have Mike dealing with this buffoon who has that nice ass Hummer who lost his baseball cards, but you kind of sympathize with him when he tells Mike, like, "I need these baseball cards back." It's not the cards. It's my father's. It was my father. You sympathize with that. Like, damn, that's why he wants those damn baseball cards. So he doesn't care if he lost the money and stuff. He wants those baseball cards. So it was great to see Mike actually go to the place where, I forget his name, but it's Tuco's cousin, I think. Tuco's cousin who pretty much robbed the one guy with the glasses, and telling him, "Listen, I'm not threatening you or anything, but you need to give him back those cards, or Tuco's going to find out your little operation." So, of course, he does, and he takes the Hummer. And then we also had... He called the cops. The guy with the glasses called the cops. So the cops are and they found that hole, and then they make up a story. Well, Mike calls Saul. Saul makes up a story for him. He tampers, not with evidence. He doesn't tamper with evidence, but he makes evidence up where he makes a tape with this guy doing cream pies and all that shit, sexual act, whatever it was. And the cops buy it, and of course they see the tape, and Kim, like, he tells Kim, which was a no-no, because Kim's all about the law, all about the book, and she says, "You can't be doing that. Like, what are you doing, Saul?" So it's awkward at the end of this episode, which is actually really good. I liked how they left the episode that way. So, but right now, and then we have Chuck. Chuck comes back to the firm. He's going against Saul, or he's watching Saul at this point. And Saul, it's just hard for Saul to even like talk when Chuck's there. But of course, Kim, Saul's able to do it. There's a lot of great things in this episode. The comedy worked, especially the subtle comedy with Mike and that buffoon and Tuco's cousin. Really liked that situation right there. I didn't know, because when they all met up for the final time, giving him back the baseball cards, and of course him giving him the Hummer, and then him saying, "You got to polish, you got to do this and that," and he's like, "Yeah, I'll tell my guys at the shop to be real gentle with it." He's like, "Oh wait, you're not keeping it? Like, I would not be caught dead in that thing." So that was pretty funny. You gotta love Mike, man. Mike is like one of my favorite characters from Breaking Bad. So him just overall, it's just like, I can feel his pain. Like, this guy's an idiot. Why he has to deal with idiots, pretty much. I like the relationship between him and Saul, and him calling Saul right away. It's a pro bono case, whatever you want to call it, and that whole situation was great. Going back to Kim and Saul, I think this is where the series really works, is between these two, because Kim is by the book. Kim is the one. I think she's like us. She's rooting for Saul to achieve his goals. She believes in him, but I think towards the end of the run of this whole series, she's gonna find out, like, she can only take so much. So she might actually move away. I'm assuming she might move away, but that's what I'm predicting. But overall, I think she's just good, because Slippin' Jimmy keeps slipping. Like, even though he wants to try to do it by the book, that's not Jimmy. That's not Saul. So Kim's going to find that, like, she's going to start realizing that, or she already realizes it, but she's going to understand that you change him. And as much as I love Jimmy, like, Jimmy does make these mistakes, but he's actually really good at what he does. And that whole situation with that guy with the glasses and the cream pie, or the pie, I think nobody's going to find out, honestly. That was a great little way to kind of cover up everything, that the drugs and all that stuff. But he is in a line of work that Kim just does not or won't ever understand, or will not participate in, even though she did participate in that little fun little thing about stocks and stuff. But overall, I think the relationship is what brings me to the series a lot, because at first I didn't like Kim. in the first season, in the beginning, I was like, her acting's a little stale. But, I think Kim's getting a little bit, I think she's got better in acting wise. The characters interacting, there is chemistry there. I really like that. I think overall, Chuck and Saul's relationship, Chuck and Jimmy's relationship is really, really interesting because right now they have a falling out, and you could tell Chuck misses him. You could tell Chuck is like, somebody else is bringing him his stuff. So Howard is. So I absolutely love the interactions between a lot of these relationships, and a lot of, it's good, it's bad. I mean, Chuck and Saul, Jimmy is always going to be good and bad. Like, it's always interesting when those two hit because they have great chemistry. Whenever Mike's involved, it's always great. I'm glad that the show keeps Mike on because I think you need Mike. Mike is a great secondary kind of character with Saul because those two do have a great relationship and do have great chemistry. So I think the characters and whatever and the relationships and the interactions in this episode is what brought this episode up. It was an okay episode, honestly. I think the cinematography is still very great. I think overall it's just, it lags a little bit. You kind of wish for a little bit more, but overall I think Saul is doing its job. It's still keeping me entertained. It's still making me interested in the characters, and if you make me interested in these characters, I feel for them. I sympathize with them. Just like they did it. They did it with that buffoon, the guy with the glasses who lost his baseball cards. I didn't think I could ever sympathize with this guy, but I did after he said that was his father's card. So overall, I think this was a pretty decent, pretty good episode. Wasn't the best, I will say that, but it was a good episode, and I think Better Call Saul is still on a great start, and it just makes me so interested in what happens to some of these characters like Chuck, like Kim, even like Howard. What's going to happen? So thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like the video if you like it, and comment below. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. I'm Dan Megan, Dan's son. Till next time, guys. Slip away. Bye, guys.